when really at the end of the day, it's just a matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
That's why it's really important to have a plan. Have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this Degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Well, aloha, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels. Welcome to the Degen Roundtable, Whiskey Wednesday. With me tonight, I am joined by Josh, I'm joined by Nate, and I'm joined by Zenith. We're going to be talking about some kick-ass Whiskey Wednesday things. But before we get on into that, let's have the panel go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about what is new and exciting with you, and what are you gentlemen sipping on. Josh, what's going on, buddy? What's new and exciting, and what are you drinking?
I am sipping on some cranberry juice because it's good for the period. So
There you go.
Figured I get a little cranberry juice in the system to make things a little easier. But no, everything's good, man. Feeling a lot better. Been sucking down Claritin like it's Skittles. So my allergies seem to have gotten a lot better. I still feel like I got like a little frog in my throat or something like that. It's weird. I don't know if it's related to the period, but that's what I got going on. Excited about the episode. It's gonna be fun. And we have your friend behind the scenes. So just let me know whenever you want me to pop him up. But Nate, what's going on with you, man?
Well, I was just going to say, as far as a frog in your throat, I thought that was just your voice all the time. So, yeah, no, I'm going wild today. I'm not drinking my Tito's. It is now Grey Duck, not Goose, because, that's too expensive and I'm cheap as all hell. So, trying to do something a little different, right? But just in case yes, it is. So we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. Looking forward to a certain friend behind the scenes right now, and well, it looks like he's just gonna pop in anyways. Hey, Pastor Abdul, what's up?
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the casino floor, we have the
Hey,
himself.
how's it going, man? Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Sorry, it's been a busy night. I've been a lot of rushing around, but happy to sit down for a drink with you.
He says busy night, but he's over there just gambling away over there on those shit coins, eh?
Well, yeah. Well, that sacrifice is almost over, and I thought I should do some gambling. Oh, never mind. Anyway,
What's new and exciting? Well, actually, hang on, Fast Abdul. We'll get to you here in a second. We're going to finish introducing the panel, and then you can take us away since you are the man of the hour tonight. Nate, you had already you said what's new and exciting with you? You're doing work.
Yeah, what's up with you, Zenith? Do you have anything new and exciting going on, Zenith?
A bit. I'm just doing my usual very boring thing, which is keeping up with the TradFi markets and reading all of the releases from our favorite government that is totally not invading Gaza currently by building a floating pier and claiming that they're not on land. Therefore, there are no ground forces. However, I am looking at the fallout from the FOMC meeting. Shocker, they kept rates exactly where they were because inflation has not gone anywhere and it hasn't really shown signs of going anywhere. However, I will say, if you do want a good chuckle and you understand the timing of it, if you go look at the S&P 500 chart on the hourly, you can see precisely when Jerome Powell started speaking, because there is a massive red candle. That is all I got going on. I'm not nothing too crazy. Just work, gym, charts. That's what it's at.
Excellent. Well, sounds good, Mr. Z. And then last but not least, our good friend from up north, Mr. Fast Abdul. I hear you have some interesting news regarding the TWFucks protocol and some things coming out. And what's going on, bro? What's new and exciting with you, brother?
It's thanks for having me on, guys. I do appreciate it. I know you guys are busy, and to get us on with short notice like that, I didn't think it was going to happen. So, fantastic. The TWFucks protocol is imminent. We're calling it on the sacrifice. We put up a countdown timer, 7 days, 12 hours left, and then it's done. Doesn't matter what the total is. It's cap sacrifice, capped at 2 million. We're about 900,000 short of that. We're expecting a lot of action in the last 2-3 days is probably what's going to happen. But regardless, the protocol is very close to launching. We're finishing our audits. I think, what's the date today? In 3 days, we'll have our audits done. And we've been in contact with the auditors. There's not any big surprises. It's looking very, very good for having a live protocol soon. Now, the protocol is pretty complicated and it needs to spool up. So it sort of runs in the background for like a week before we'll let users come and actually move in millions and millions of dollars to make sure that everything is safe and that the APRs are correct and all of those kind of details. But yeah, the thing works. And I know it works because we're actually running it and have been for more than a month now on the Pulse chain. So we have like a test net, but our test net is just the Pulse chain. And we're actually interacting with the Fucks exchange, which is the nature of what TWFucks does. And it works with real money moving it around. So for advanced users, we'll invite you to come and use our test net. I'm not just going to post it and say everybody can just come and join and use the test net because it is real and it involves real money. But if you want to move around $2-3 because it costs 10 cents on the Pulse chain and see how the protocol works, anybody who has an understanding what we're doing, just reach out to me in Telegram. Come to our Telegram room and we can chat about it if you understand, or after having a conversation to make sure you understand, I'll give you the link to the test net and you can do real transactions and make real money, get real yield in the Fucks token, etc. Up until the protocol launches. So, but again, I don't want people moving $50,000 on there. It would work, but don't do that. Wait for the live real TWFucks to be launched. And but having that test net is awesome, right? Because even the back in the day before the Pulse chain launched, where everybody was like, oh, it's on the test net, check it out. There were more than one version of the test. There's more than one version of the test net. And then when you moved to the main net, it wasn't the same, right? Stuff didn't work the same. So we know this works the same. We know it works. We know it integrates with the things it needs to integrate with. It's already had the problems that it's going to have. And we have a team of people who are, doing bug fixes and stuff like that, which will be an ongoing process. But to be clear, the bugs are front end stuff, the back end code just works. So we're set with that. But it's okay, this APR is, not displaying quite right, or, those kind of little things, or the mobile version isn't as pretty as I'd like it to be, that kind of stuff. And I know it's, that's important to some people to have, all those details for marketing and stuff, have the logos line up, etc. But yeah, the thing works and we're going to bring it to market very, very soon. So that's super exciting because I've been working on this for I probably only told you guys about it 3 months ago, but I've been working on it for 10 months with Yellowcake. We didn't tell anybody for the first 6 months of those 10 months, right, at all what we were doing. And it's been a huge endeavor, obviously a huge out-of-pocket expense in the early days. And yeah, it's coming to fruition. So that's, just really stoked about it.
Hell yeah, bro. I am so, and we're gonna dive into it real soon. I'll if you don't mind, in the near future, I'm gonna have you share your screen and kind of sort of walk us through the DApp. But before we go, is that something that you're able to do?
Well, actually, we can bring another party onto the stream, right?
Yeah, we can do that. Before we do that, I'm going to roll through chats, but is there some way that we can roll through a little live demo thing as you and I were talking about earlier?
Oh, for sure. No, I'm gonna pull up Yellowcake, the project manager, and he'll run through the demo for us, right? Because he can explain you guys can ask the hard questions because I know you have a top 10%, top 5% understanding, and he can answer all the questions. So excellent. I'm going to get him on here, and we're just going to do that when when it's time.
Okay, sweet. Well, go ahead and get him on the horn. We're going to do a quick round of community shoutouts. My God, the chat is on fire. I'm trying to keep up with reading the live chats, and Josh is doing an excellent job producing tonight. We have sent Mrs. McGettit on a vacation, so she is enjoying herself right now. So big shout out and thank you to Mrs. McGettit, our normal producer. Josh is running the show today, so big thanks to Josh. First and foremost, I want to shout out Mr. Antoine here with the 9999 super chat. My God, bro, sending us 100 dineros. We appreciate that very much. Antoine apparently misses Joshy Poo, and I can't tell what
Hey,
those emojis are. Are those like iPhone emojis?
I don't know, but this dude's been sending us black chips since we got monetized. So,
Dude,
big shout out to him, man. Big shout out.
Antoine's a fucking G, man. You guys should go down to Miami and have a meet up with Antoine and see just how much of a real life G he is. And I will leave it at that. This dude is fucking kick ass. Big shout out and much love to our friend down near Brendan over in the southern half of Florida. So big shout out to you, sir. Next up, we got Brown. Farmer J, don't drink and drive. No promises. We got to stay hydrated. I guess drinking alcohol and driving is probably a bad. What is this? Alan Fizame has got the Jaws music. I'm not going to sing it because I don't know how to sing shark, but excellent. We got Alan Fizame. We got Cassie Kelly. Hello everyone. Hello Cassie. How's it going? Next up we got Tam Tam, loving Nate's sense of humor. Tam Tam, it's good to see you. Welcome. And then also we got Centurion 54X. What is up, Degens? What's up, Mr. Centurion? I hope you're having a good time over there in the Pacific Northwest, flying your planes around and doing your good farming stuff. That dude's been with us for a very long time. So shout out to everybody out there in the chat. I'm pretty sure I saw Crypto Sloth over there. I'm pretty sure I saw Paul Sachs. Let me see who else. Oh my God, there's like 18.
We got Briss in here, man.
Jesus, we got Brissology.
Wow.
Shout out Brissology. Dude,
Yeah.
we got all the fam in the chat. So Crypto Sloth, yeah, Brissology, Talking Bribes. Man, what a full night tonight. But yeah, shout out to you guys, the community out there watching. Big love from all of us, from us to you. All right. Okay, that takes care of the chat comments and things. Make sure, by the way, that you guys like, comment, subscribe, bitch, moan, complain, share this video out to your friends, send it out to your boss, print it out as a QR code and mail it to your favorite doggy daycare center. Get on over into also join our Telegram community. Oh my goodness, we got another super chat from Farmer J. When does my $2 turn into a million Nates? Well, you're going to have a hard time cloning Nate for $2, especially if you're trying to get 1 million copies. I don't know how easy it is to clone Mr. Nate, but making 1 million copies of this man would be, the world would be so much better of a place if there was 1 million Nates running around. But I don't know how long that's going to take.
Will, I read that as though he wants to put $2 in and turn that $2 into 1 million. I'll tell you what, it only takes about like 2 hours, but you have to find dog with hat. Okay.
Yep.
Or maybe even like a week. Just go find dog with hat. If you can find another one of those and put your $2 in when it's only like 1,000 market cap, and then have it bounce up to 1 billion market cap. Yeah, you could do that.
Oh, that is kick ass and killer. And where do we send the pallet of cash? At Fast Abdul. Fast Abdul, are you guys taking pallets of cash for your TWFucks protocol? Does it work that way? You guys just have a hanger?
Work out some sort of OTC deal for Brissology in particular.
Yep.
I don't have a direct on ramp, but yeah, I'll meet you behind your house and you bring the cash. We'll work it out. It'll be good.
Yeah, I'll probably need a literal ramp for a pallet of cash. That's a lot of money. How are we looking with Yellowcake, by the way?
Yellowcake is going to be delayed for a couple minutes, but I think that's okay because I think if we sort of cover some of the surface stuff, once we unleash Yellowcake, there's no going back, right?
All right.
It just keeps going. So I think if we cover some of the lighter things first, and then we can bring him in here and we can turn him on, and he'll just go.
That sounds good. Well, you are the subject matter expert. If you were me, what would be the first question that you would have me ask the subject matter expert for TWFucks?
Say, what the fucks is TWFucks?
So what the fucks is TWFucks?
That's a good question. So to understand TWFucks, you need to understand Fucks, which is PHUX, the PHUX.io exchange. It's a fork of Balancer V2 for the Pulse chain, the most advanced DEX format, in my opinion. You can have up to 8 tokens paired together in one liquidity pair, which is a pretty big deal. You can do, like all sorts of interesting pairings of even having liquidity tokens paired against liquidity tokens and things like that you can't necessarily do on other DEXs. The other big change is just that there's like a huge yield opportunity. It gives people bonus yield in the form of the Fucks token. So, and that yield can be increased by up to 2.5 times, 2.5x, if you have the proper amount of Fucks tokens locked, usually for 1 year inside that wallet, right? But most people don't have $100,000 of Fucks tokens locked in their wallet, and that's one of the things that TWFucks does. Is it's sort of a pool together thing where we'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars of Fucks that's permanently locked in our protocol, like it can never be sold, and you can come and stake your LP tokens from Fucks on TWFucks, and you get to act like our giant pile of Fucks is yours, and basically stake your LP and farm like you're a whale. That's I think that's the part that will interest everybody. You should definitely be interested in the concept of getting up to 2.5 times more yield than you could get by yourself. But then the other big portion is TWFucks is a vote booster for the Fucks ecosystem, which is how that yield happens. You're only voting on one thing, and that is which liquidity pools get the most yield. And so those votes are worth money very directly. And very obviously, and TWFucks will have a huge quantity of voting power because along with that locked Fucks that gives you the boost, it also gives a huge amount of votes. And those votes are solely controlled by the holders of the TWFucks token. And they're going to be able to decide which pools will get the most votes. And very quickly, like in a matter of months, potentially, it'll snowball to being like a huge proportion of the votes. Like the equivalent protocol on Ethereum, which is called Aura Finance, which is a fork of Convex. It has about 65% of the balancer votes right now after about 3 years. And we're starting much earlier in the game than they are. So in a year, like maybe we'll be sitting at 65% of the votes on Fucks, which is going to be a lot of money to control. So I think it's something that people should be interested in. So that's the top level overview. There's also the bribes thing where you can sell your votes. That's a secondary protocol called Bribery that we're launching a month later. No promises. This is not in the white paper, but it's going to be a bribe marketplace. And one thing that I didn't really push because I didn't want people to get their hopes up, but I have a better understanding now, is that Bribery is going to have options for things like probably delegating your Fucks votes that are currently locked until they're not anymore, as well as maybe other teams, like guys like the 9-inch team or, maybe even Paul Sex, if they adopt any sort of DAO system where you're voting on making things happen, either voting on which pools get yield or which pools get bonus yield, then they can also be part of our bribe ecosystem. It doesn't work with the TWFucks protocol for the boost, but if it's just controlling votes and buying and selling votes, then the our secondary Bribery protocol will have that functionality. So I think that's just a little bonus, like a little alpha that we have coming up. But the big thing I want people to understand is that this thing's almost done. It's live. You can try it on our testnet. You can look at our audits next week, and we still have a sacrifice running. If you want to look at that, you can. You don't have to. You can, when the protocol is live, 2 clicks, you unstake your LP tokens on Fucks, and then you restake them on TWFucks, and then you'll get that up to 2.5 times bonus yield. So it's been a long road. People have been patient with us, but I think compared to most things, we've been pretty quick. And it's pretty exciting.
Sweet. So like the elevator pitch of TWFucks in a sentence, it's a better place to LP than the regular old Fucks because you got the power of the community. I like it. That's freaking awesome.
And I can give you guys one other cool piece of alpha that I think is relevant to your community because you guys are on top of like what's happening in the ecosystem. So you guys know like the Solid X token, and then they're calling it the Solid Index, right? So we have Nope, we have the Solid X token, we have the Axis token, and Crispy Man's Fire token, right? Well, those guys are working together. They have a lot of paired liquidity, like where it's like, they have Axis paired to Solid X and so on and so forth. On the Fucks exchange, specifically when TWFucks launches, that's when they're going to do this. They're going to have the Solid Index token, which will be one LP token. So it is an LP pair, but it's also a token, and it will have a name, right? And the pool will have a name, and the token will have a ticker. So it'll be like, the Solid Index pool and token will be available that contains all 4 of those coins, right? So all 4 of those communities will be able to participate with TWFucks and apply votes to the same pool on the Fucks exchange. This would be a good pool to be in. So good that I think it could make the price of those tokens go up. I can give you some public information without breaking any sort of confidences. And of course, when we talk about a sacrifice, we're talking about points. But I do know that the public address for the Solid X Fire Whale is the top sacrificer for the TWFucks protocol. He'll have the most points. So he's very interested. Yeah, it seems to me like he's going to be directing votes when the protocol comes out. That's something he'll be interested in. And then as far as a single community, because we had a sort of a community bonus program where there could be like permanent votes towards like certain community pools. The biggest community to get the biggest bonus was the Nope community, which is clearly associated. So, between Nope and Solid X and, other guys who have like some pretty serious bags to move around in that community, I think that'll be a very interesting pool. So I'm not telling you that these tokens are good. I'm not telling you anything about, the quality of these services. Please do your own research. But I can tell you that these communities are interested in boosting their pools on the Fucks exchange via the TWFucks front end that will give additional boosting power, more than likely they'd be able to achieve by themselves, and that they seem very committed, both financially and time-wise, to this endeavor. So if with my bags, that's something I would consider when I can tell that a founder or a group of founders is putting their money where their mouth is towards taking care of their community. That's important to me. And when we look at things like directing votes to a pool on Fucks, that's not like sure, if I have LP in a pool and I send votes to that pool, I'm going to get more yield. But everyone else who's participating in that pool gets the same amount of more yield for the votes that I put in, right? So when you have somebody like the Fire Whale who's sending a truly tremendous amount of votes to a pool like that, well, like it's going to make a difference. People will notice. It'll be on the charts. So I think that's going to be the thing. But I think I digress. That's the general overlay of what we have. I think we can bring up Yellowcake and he can dive right into the demo and show you guys how it works. Shout that if you have questions, just shout out, and we'll address them. There he is.
Excellent, Mr. Yellowcake, sir. Aloha. Hello. And good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever it is that you're at. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, it's upside down in crypto. There's no sleep. I'm doing medium well. Yeah, how are you, Will?
I'm doing fantastic. For the folks at home who have never seen you, can you give yourself a brief introduction, who you are and what you do in the space? We covered it a little bit, but go ahead and let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, I'll just give a brief introduction. Been a serial entrepreneur my whole life. Was one of the first of my generation to have a computer. Spent half my life in front of it, nerding out. Went a decade without computers. Got back in when the Internet of Things were hopping. Thought this was going to be my ticket. Got back into coding and mainly playing with microcontrollers. Then knew about Bitcoin since 2009. Was late to the train because I listened to some people on a driveway. Started mining, a big mining operation with ASIC miners, and always wanted to build in the space. So I took some Ivan on Tech courses back in the day. I would have been around 2016, somewhere in there. His blockchain business management and his blockchain coding courses. Went through all the languages to basically with the aim of being able to build projects and to be able to understand enough to work with developers and to know what I'm looking at. And that was really what prepped me to be in this position to be helping bring the Convex like layer to Pulse Chain.
All right. Excellent. So you're now between the two of you, are you guys both developers and devs of that sort of thing? Do you guys have your own little system that you guys work together with? I want to learn a little bit more about the two of you, and then we'll dive into the protocol if that's all right with you guys. Sure.
Yeah, no problem.
So yes, go ahead.
We know each other, like we're friends, and we've met in person, things like that, which is hard to say in the the crypto ecosystem. We definitely have different roles. Like Yellowcake is clearly the project manager, and I'm clearly the guy who's in a casino wearing like, you know, a silk suit with like roses on it and stuff. So, you know, I
Yes.
think that kind of defines what we do and the importance of each role.
Excellent. That's a good way to put it. I like that very much. We've had some nice comments on your fantastic suit there. Excellent. All right. Well, Mr. Yellowcake, actually, you know what, Fast Abdul, I'm gonna let you interview Mr. Yellowcake and ask him the poignant questions that would get the best explanations for our audiences who know very little about this protocol and what's the new stuff. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, good sir. Why don't you interview Mr. Yellowcake if you don't mind?
Like interview him about his personality and foibles and stuff like that.
Well, more about the protocol and about the specifics. I would like to, and if you guys are willing to do a quick walkthrough of the testnet or the site or the dapper, however it is structured as it is.
Yeah, you bet. Well, let's maybe let's just like if Yellowcake could share his screen, we could just dive right into it and show people what we got.
It might be helpful to know how many minute walkthrough you want, because essentially it can be there are some technical aspects, but I mean, if we have time, I can just go through the various pages, just kind of show people what it does. Let's
do the elevator pitch version first, and then from there we can jump into a more deep dive. I'm looking for something around about 30 minutes, if that works for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Do that.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, I'll just switch the screen share here if that's all right.
Sweet.
And before you came in,
by the way, thank you for joining.
And,
go ahead.
All right. Yeah.
Before you came in, Yellowcake, I gave him the brief overview on what Fucks does, what TWFucks does, and what Bribery does, right? So maybe let's start looking at some of the pools pages and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. So can everybody see the screen here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. So essentially, TWFucks built on top of Balancer V2, the Fucks.io, and this acts as a proxy that allows you to get boosted rewards. And the way it does that is through accruing as much protocol-owned PrimeTX as possible. So I like to use fancy words, you know, through the social aggregation of voting power, we all can achieve more than if we try to just do it on our own. So what that essentially means is that we're pooling our voting power together. And in that respect, a user can come into the TWFucks front end and route their liquidity through our front end and benefit as though you were the wallet that owned all that locked voting power. So Fast may have touched on, so essentially Fucks.io has as a Fucks token as an emission and rewards token, but also as a governance and voting token. So that's built on top, TWFucks being built on top, where we have some very similar structure. We have a native token called TWFucks, and it does some things. It allows the user to direct votes to pools, which translate into emissions, you know, into pools of their choice, amongst other things. And one of the ways that this works is through, as I mentioned, being built on top of Balancer. The protocol owns all the PrimeTX. So normally on Fucks.io, you would have to go in and lock your PrimeTX for up to a year to get these votes, and these votes allow you to direct rewards to your pools. And that could be resource intensive as an individual. So by working together, by having this layer built on top, the protocol accrues all the PrimeTX. And the way it does that is through a process called minting. And what that essentially does is it gives you the protocol essentially owns that PrimeTX. It's a one-way mint. It'll forever be protocol owned, and then it issues you a derivative wrapper token, which you can do all the things you would expect to be able to do with a token like that. So it represents the locked PrimeTX, but then you're instantly liquid. So you could do other things like stake it, provide it in a liquidity pool, sell it if you wanted. So the advantage is not being locked. So that's just, I'm jumping around here. I'll stick with this first page here, which is our pools page. So this shows all the gauged pools that are on Fucks.io. So all the pools that have the ability to have emissions directed towards them, basically will be on these pages. So one of the things that you'll see here is we can just pick a particular pool. Is there a coin that you like? Tell me, I'll show you our lightning fast search function if you.
It's crazy fast, guys. So fast. Check it out.
I would like to see Hex because fuck
Okay.
it, we'll start at the beginning.
Yeah, here we go. So this already, all the pools with Hex in it. I guess there's P-Hex and E-Hex, but like, let's pick one of these pools with some nice juicy APR here. Is this one okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's or there's this get it on here. Let's just see what this is made out of here. But this okay, so I'll explain a couple things here. So there's a few different numbers we're seeing here. One is this what we call the gauge boost. So over on Fucks.io, there's a low and a high range of APR available. So essentially, if you don't own a single voting token, you could come in, park your liquidity, and you're guaranteed to get that lowest range, which is comprised of a swap fee and the Fucks rewards. But this gauge boost comes in when you have locked votes. And essentially, like I said, as an individual, it can be fairly resource intensive to have all that equity locked up for a long period of time to try to get a boosted reward. So you can get up to 2.5x boost. And that's a factor of, how much liquidity there is, how many people there are on their pool, and how much protocol owned voting power there is. So it's going to be a dynamic number up to 2.5x. Most cases it won't be 2.5x, but like on DevNet, what we have going here, there's various pools that'll have based on the amount of liquidity. Looks like these Hex pools are pretty consistently high because it's just because there's a lot of there isn't a lot of total value locked relative to the amount of protocol owned votes. So these pools are getting a high boost right now. As more people come in, that'll get diluted, but then the APR will go back up as people direct more votes to that pool. So essentially, we're made up of a swap fee here, as you would see on Fucks.io. So there's almost 12% of swap fee. There's your Fucks rewards, and then there's this additional TWFucks token, which is our native token. Oh, here we go. And essentially, this is this price is just based on our testnet or DevNet pricing. So it'll depend on what the market price is, but you can begin to see how this number creates what we call our current VAPR. And what that current VAPR is the rewards that are actually already harvested and being distributed to these stakers. So the TWFucks protocol goes in a couple times a day and it harvests the rewards from these pools, and it drips them out over a week. The first week that you enter a pool, and that's for security reasons. So there's essentially the current VAPR are rewards that are already harvested and are being distributed. So if you enter the pool right now, this is what you could be getting. And then this projected VAPR is if everything stayed the same, the size of the pool, the amount of people in the pool, the liquidity, the amount of votes directed, then essentially the projected VAPR would become the current VAPR. But because it's a dynamic pool, there's always people coming in going, the projected VAPR kind of gives you a look into the future where things are going. So this number will always be dynamically changing, but you can get an idea of where the APR is going directionally. Are you following me so far, or do you have any questions?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Yellowcake, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So I pulled up the Fucks.io protocol just to check.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, are the pools on TWFucks independent of like the ones on Fucks? What I mean to ask is like, are you able to only use pools that are also already created on Fucks.io?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And yes, so it's important to note that we are built on top of Fucks.io. So all the liquidity that's routed through the TWFucks front end points and it is put into the Fucks.io liquidity pools. So essentially, a new user, or once we launch, a user would come out, would go to Fucks.io and unstake your liquidity. And then when you come over to the TWFucks front end, these are pools that I already have. This is the portfolio page. These are pools that I already have liquidity staked in, and there's a shortcut right to that pool. But then as new users come in, you unstake your liquidity from Fucks.io, and you're going to see this thing called unstake pool. So now I find my pool token, and I click on this the shortcut button, and it'll take me right to the pool here, where I can now go and stake my liquidity through the TWFucks front end. and benefit from these boosted APRs. So right now, this particular pool here is 102%, and so I can then go and select the amount I want to stake, and I'll go and do that right now. And so it'll be very, very intuitive, very easy for people to move in. Does that answer your question? Is that?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I was just trying to see where the correlation was, and if there's anything, I guess, new on the TWFucks protocol that you can't do on Fucks.
Right.
And Sloth brought it up in the comment section below. He said, yeah, this isn't a DEX in and of itself. It is a protocol that uses a DEX to create utility.
That's right. Yeah.
Got
So
it.
noteworthy, this is the liquidity pool token, and you can also have the option for convenience of staking single tokens within that pool, and it'll automatically go in the back end and convert them. However, you want to be mindful of slippage the same way you would be on Fucks.io. So there is a shortcut here that'll take you right to the liquidity pool page on Fucks.io. So you could build your liquidity pool token and then come back here and stake it if that was what you wanted to do. But if you had, say, just a little bit of crumbs and you wanted to just top up your, use some of your single tokens in a pool, you have that option to do that. It'll route through the Fucks.io front end, and we'll do that for you. So that's the liquidity pool part. One thing that you can notice on this page, when I go back to this page, the data loads instantly, but there's some data that trails behind. That was one of the optimizations we worked really hard on getting, so that a user could come to a page and not have to wait for the whole page to load, like all this data to load. See, this data is lagging behind, but right now we can move, we can click on things, and as the data becomes available, it'll just pop up once it's there. Because Pulse Chain is a very complicated, there's a lot of, the Pulse Chain subgraph, there's, with a protocol like this, data is coming from a lot of different places. So one of the optimizations we worked hard on was not making the user wait or have to wait for things. So really happy about that.
This is excellent. That's like straight out of Sci-Vive. Like, take care of the most important things on the website first. Make sure they load first. Make it better for the user. I like that. I'm just a peanut brain. I don't understand how all this stuff works. I'm glad that you guys put effort into it.
Well, to me, it seems so logical, but it's just one of those things that you have to think about. And the other thing that we worked on as well is that, because like I mentioned, we rely on Pulse Chain subgraph and some other data coming from other places. So if there is an event where some of that data might not be available, like if the Pulse Chain subgraph goes down, which it has at times, then we've created a back end that keeps snapshots of the most recent data. So it might display the most recent data it had a memory of.
Yeah.
In that time, it'll be better than nothing. So that's happy about that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to move on. What?
Real quick though, it still uses so because it's built on top of Fucks, it still uses whatever. So that's just the display that's changed. It's not like there's actual numbers that people can take advantage of arbitraging and things.
That's right. Yeah, no, it is the same data. We do collect our data fresh, so there might be some very, very slight differences in the in what is displayed as an APR. Like we're talking like maybe like 0.1% difference or something like that. But that's because we're getting the prices from our own subgraph that are pulling them from charts, and so there could be a very slight difference on, but it's not going to be anything that we'll be able to arbitrage on. There is some really cool arbitrage opportunities which I'll touch on later. But I'll continue to move on unless you had more questions about the pools page. I'll go.
I've got nothing else. Does any other panelists have any questions for Mr. Yellowcake before we move on?
I just want to mention quick. Oh, go ahead.
I was just wondering if you were able to create your own pools, kind of like you can on Fucks.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can create your own pools. However, a gauge, we don't have a say on which pools get a gauge. So we're only displaying the pools that have gauges, which what that means is they're eligible to have rewards directed towards them. So on Fucks.io, there's pools that are gauged that have that little star beside them, and then there's pools that aren't gauged. yet. And so that's still at the discretion of Fucks.io to issue gauged pools. So so essentially that's how we work, is because it's really, the whole benefit is to gamify the rewards emissions. So does that answer?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, so you can make and one other thing while we're on this page, I was going to show this later, but one thing that's built into our protocol is this ability to add an extra incentive token. So we did this on our DevNet just for fun, just so you can conceptualize what it's like adding another token. I mean, obviously this token price is high because there's no real market for it right now. So it's just this is the only way you can get this particular token, is by staking in this pool. But you can begin to see how an extra reward token can really, really play with your APR numbers. So there's going to be some interesting. There already is some communities working on some interesting ways of implementing an extra reward token to their specific pool. So I just wanted to add that because that's a little bit of alpha that not many people know about yet.
Think about how big that could be, guys. Like, basically means that TWFucks could be an airdrop portal for, future tokens, or that like a specific pool could be incentivized by a specific community with a third token on top of the TWFucks, the Fucks, and potentially Prime TWFucks that they're receiving by participating with the protocol. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting game theory to go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to move along into, there's a couple different components I want to cover. Before I go to the native TWFucks token, I'm just going to actually talk about the Prime TWFucks token, because that's how the protocol accrues its large position of Prime Fucks, which is the voting power that allows us to direct votes to pools. So on Fucks.io, like, they were the first, Balancer was the first protocol to use a liquidity pool token as their governance token. So it's basically an 80% pulse, 20% Fucks, or do I got it the other way around? Sorry, 80% Fucks, 20% pulse in the Prime Fucks token. And so users would typically lock that and then have the privilege of steering emissions to a pool. So like I mentioned, TWFucks protocol is collectively accumulating this large pool. So with the way this happens, so a user would come into this page, and the only way this Prime TWFucks token comes into existence is when a user mints it. And what that means is you come in with one of your either a Fucks or Prime Fucks tokens. So here I got some Fucks tokens, and I'm going to choose to mint some tokens to my wallet. So I click the mint button, and what this does is it actually is going to go over to point towards Fucks.io, and it's going to actually create some Prime Fucks, and then it's going to take that Prime Fucks and lock it in the protocol and issue me a derivative wrapper token called Prime TWFucks. So essentially, it's close to a 1-to-1 rate that they're minted. And what that means is that now, because on Fucks.io, normally you had to be locked for up to a year. But in this case, this is a one-way mint. The protocol now owns the Prime Fucks, and I'm issued a wrapper derivative token called Prime TWFucks. And so what I can do with this token, I'm free to go to the market and sell it or add it to a liquidity pool, or I can choose to stake it. And what the advantages of staking it here now is I get the same rewards that I would going over to Fucks.io. For some reason, this pool is not loading, page isn't loading today. But regardless, I think the APR on Fucks.io was around 93 or 95% today on the
That's
Prime
right.
Fucks.
Right about there, yeah.
And so those rewards are mapped to the protocol, and then they're redirected to the stakers of the Prime TWFucks token. So now you're going to get that 95%, but why does our APR here say 165? Well, let's start with this this classic staking. So like I said, this is a staking. It's not a lock, so you can stake and unstake whenever you want. But if you stake, you're going to get the same native rewards at 95%, but then you're going to get additional. So your native rewards are on Fucks tokens and Prime Fucks tokens, but then you're getting additional TWFucks tokens on top of that. So there's 3 reward tokens with the classic staking that'll be mapped to your claims page, and you can claim those tokens individually. but there's an option of a built-in compounder. So right now we're at 147% APR over that 95. Now we're at 185% APR. And why is that? Well, there's a couple of reasons. There's, like I said, the native rewards you're getting. The stakers of PrimeTX also get the lion's share of protocol revenue. So there's a sharing of the revenue from the liquidity providers that are shaved off and redistributed to the stakers of the PrimeTX and a little bit to the lockers of the TWFucks token. So there's three revenue streams. Essentially, you're getting your native rewards, you're getting a share of the protocol revenue, and then you're getting additional TWFucks tokens. So the compounder takes those rewards and it keeps rolling them over several times a day into TWFucks tokens. So in that respect, you're getting, you know, in this DevNet, you're nearly getting 90% more than you would be native staking. Plus, I'm liquid. At any time, I can go and unstake this. There's no lock period. I can just stake them and go do other things with them at any time. So this is the way that the protocol keeps accruing and building this PrimeTX is by incentivizing people to participate in the minting and the staking, because sharing of the protocol revenue, plus you're getting the same benefits that you would have had on Fucks.io natively, but you got the additional benefit of being liquid. And so this is probably, I could pause for questions here, but I could roll into the segue. It's really a good segue into how basically the lockers of our native token, the TWFucks token, get to steer 100% of the protocol owned voting power to the pools of their choice. So I'll just pause there in case I lost anybody or there's any questions.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm kind of noticing is it seems quite a bit like Reaper. Have you ever heard of Reaper?
I've heard of the name, but I'm not 100% familiar with.
Yeah, the Oath devs basically does the same sort of thing, except it's on the Phantom network.
Okay.
That Optimism as well. But yeah.
Okay.
Does that work with Beethoven?
Yes, Beethoven,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
so it probably is the same thing. That's probably a fork of Convex or Aura as well, because Beethoven is a fork of Balancer. So I think we're a fork of Balancer V2, or sorry, Fucks is a fork of Balancer V2, but
Yeah.
basically we're talking about the same things.
Yeah, there's the vote escrow system. Aura itself is really hard to fork because they made it they made it that way. But what we were able to implement it on Pulse Chain successfully, and we benefit from all the extensive auditing that Aura had because we're a one-to-one fork. But there isn't a lot of forks. What I'm getting at, there isn't a lot of forks of Aura because they themselves have tried to capitalize on a couple of the chains. But yeah, it essentially does play with that vote escrowed system, which leads us into the kind of the secret sauce of the TWFucks protocol, which is the native token, the TWFucks token. So essentially, this is the one token that does have a lock, and it's a 16-week lock period. And that is by design to encourage people to participate and to use the protocol the way it was designed, but also to prevent gamification of the system. So one thing that's noteworthy, I'll just mention it now, is on the token generation event, when TWFucks launches, the people that are eligible to mint the TWFucks token, maybe it'll be a set of people whose values closely align with ourselves, will have an option to mint and claim to their wallet to have immediately available tokens, or they can mint and lock and use it the way the protocol was designed. And there's incentive built in to encourage people to mint and lock, and that is by the way of if you so do choose to do that, you're going to benefit from the people that choose to claim. If maybe somebody has a legitimate reason they want to claim because they want to add liquidity, or maybe they need some capital, so they choose the claim option. That's fine, but they're going to get 30% less tokens than they would if they would have locked, because basically that 30% is going to go at a later time to the people that chose to mint and lock. So there's a little bit of an incentive there to encourage people to participate in the protocol the way it was designed. And I just wanted to mention that because there's going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of people choosing the lock option out of the token generation event, and that could create a situation where, you know, there isn't as many on the market that people thought there would be to market buy or something like that, right? And you could just imagine. I'll let your imagination run wild with the potential there. I just wanted to mention that because there's a good chance that there's a lot of people going to be choosing the lock. So there is a small amount of protocol revenue that is directed towards the lockers, and that's reflected here in the this VAPR. Although like this protocol revenue generated on this version of DevNet is obviously not reflective of what mainnet will happen. So this number will vary based on protocol revenue, and additionally, there's a bribery incentives, which you might have heard Fast talking about selling your votes. Yeah. So that's separate from TWFucks. That's not going to be available on day one of launch, but that is something that you can keep in mind, that there is a marketplace like that's separate from your tokens. You still get your APR, but there's ability to sell your votes if you're not interested in voting yourself. But I just want to go over this mechanism here. So essentially on our DevNet, we have accelerated cycles. They're going every half a day. These lock cycles are turning over, so we could do really good testing, which is irrelevant for this. But I'm just showing you that there's an option to relock before your lock expires. So like I said, typically that'll be a week or two before your unlock date. There'll be an option to relock your tokens, or you can let them expire and withdraw them. But there's some advantages for locking them. So this, like I said, the design is that 100% of the protocol votes are in the hands of the lockers. So if only 50% of the people are locking, or 50% of the tokens are locked, that can still direct 100% of the protocol votes to the pools of your choice. So first thing you would do is you would lock some tokens. Here I've got some current voting power, which essentially just means that it's aligning with the lock period. Like there's a voting period. So right now, if I was to do a fresh lock, these would go into my future voting power pile until the voting period turnover date, which this one says it begins in 11 hours. Like I said, we have these accelerated cycles right now. So that's just processing. So once I would lock some tokens, there's my new lock, just showed up. Then the next step I would do is choose a delegate. Here I've already delegated to myself because I'm gonna choose which pools I want to direct the votes to. Well, let's just say for fun that I wanted to, I think Fast Abdul make a better choice than me. So then I can change my delegate, and I can essentially just put his address in here, and I'll keep all my tokens, but I'll just let him deal with my votes, you know? Or the same way that would work, I can delegate to TWFucks, and TWFucks would act in the best interest of the community. It would likely direct it to our gauged pools, because we're going to have likely a gauge pool for the protocol tokens. Mm-hmm. And in the same way, you would direct your votes to a third-party marketplace, such as bribery, where it gets really interesting, because there's this thing called bribe efficiency, which is basically just a math calculation on, you know, how much does it cost me to buy a vote and direct it to a pool, and what is the returns from that? So if it costs me $1 and I'm getting $3 of yield, you know, that number is calculated.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
And this is something that I think a lot of people are going to be sleeping on out of the gate. The people that are keen will be looking for it. And there's, you know, that number does eventually go down. Like I think it's around 1.3, the efficiency on, so still $1 worth of vote is still yielding $1.30. But like when these things tend to launch or tend to start out, like for a large period of time, they could be multiples. Like the bribe efficiency could be, you know, 2 or 3 or 4, you know, 4x what you're paying. And that's where it gets really interesting when you have liquidity providers working together. So as a community, if you say there's a dozen of you that are primary liquidity providers, and you really like your pool yield, the APR, but it's gonna, obviously somebody can come in without owning a single token, and they can come in and park liquidity in, you know, your high APR pool, which is kind of one of the designs. You know, you want to attract liquidity, but then that could reduce your APR. But the one way to keep that up is, like I say, as liquidity providers, you could collude or work together and say, okay, well, we really like this APR. We'd like to maintain it. Since we're the biggest liquidity providers, maybe we all put in, 0.5% of our liquidity as a bribe. And then essentially, with that bribe efficiency, the numbers really add up to maintaining and sometimes even increasing your APR. So there are ways to really game and to play this work together. So I'll just get on to the last gauge voting page. So I covered the delegate, and then now that allows this button will only light up to avoid confusion. Once you choose a delegate, then you can go to the gauge voting page. And this acts as a proxy page that you can place your votes as many times as you want. You can change them. So I've got 100% of my voting power used already. So I'm going to just reduce this pool's votes. And so I'm just signing a message here and basically placing my votes. And I can change this as many times as I want. Not like on Fucks.io where you can only do it once every 10 days. I can change it as many times as I want until this voting period ends. Because like I said, this is essentially just a proxy page. And when this voting period ends, it'll be in sync with the Fucks.io voting period, and then these votes will be applied. And then your future voting power will now become current as it's being used now, and it's generating, it's actually working, right? So that's how that'll work. So our cycle will be a 2-week cycle because of the fact on Fucks.io you can vote, but you can only change your vote once every 10 days. So because of that, we're every second voting cycle on Fucks.io. So it'll be a 14-day period. And apart from that, I just got the claims in the portfolio page, but I'll just pause there because I know it's a lot. Sounds complicated, but really, guys, there's really only like three aspects to this, and they all kind of design, and there is some ways in this protocol designed to help people do things, automate things a little bit easier. But before I jump to the claim page, is there anything that anybody has so far?
I've got no questions. Does the rest of the panel do you guys have any questions?
Looking like a fun playground.
Just want to make sure I'm getting everything correct here.
Yeah.
So it seems like a lot of the base stuff is really just built on top of Fucks and using Fucks.io. But in my opinion, what it sounds like is the real, I know you said the goal is not to do gamification, but the game, so to speak, here is that we are using collective bargaining power as a group. And you can also choose to even opt out from that and kind of sell it to other people so that you can buy influence effectively and act as the whale in this ecosystem. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think you got it pretty close down. Like I said, there's a few different ways you can use this. Like this wasn't our brainchild. It was a whole community and ecosystem that built this protocol on top of Balancer V2, and it was designed to act as a big flywheel. So like I said, the interesting thing that propels this snowball or keeps it going is that, like I said, from the get-go, you don't even need to own a single token to benefit from the TWFucks protocol. As a single user, as a small user, or any kind of user, you could come in, and without owning any voting power, you could come through our front end, route your liquidity through the front end, and benefit from the protocol-owned voting power. But then once you see it works, and you see like, okay, I am getting more than I would be on my own, then it kind of gets you curious about the other parts, right? And so all these parts are designed to give you the most robust experience. And you're right, it is designed as a social aggregation to benefit the whole community, essentially, to get more by working together than you would be able to otherwise on your own. And there is some customizability and some composability that you can do, some different options. Like I said, one of them being like the staking of the PrimeTX. Here you can see all 3 individual tokens, and I can go ahead and claim those. And additionally, there's like additional claim preferences you can choose for all your different pools. And but I just wanted to show the difference between this is the classic staking, where you have the individual reward tokens, versus the compounder staking, where things get rolled over into TWFucks tokens and offering you a higher APY. And then your rewards for locking the TWFucks are paid in PrimeTX. So again, you could take those tokens and then go and stake them, and then that'll earn you, again, additional rewards. And there's kind of there's kind of a loop that you could do that, you know, it really encourages participation and continued growth in this ecosystem, both growing the protocol, but also teaching the user that there's ways to make sustainable yield, and you can make a good returns by not going out and buying necessarily the next dog coin, and you know, there are ways to make good returns, good yields, and in a safe and sustainable way. So that's one thing that we're really happy to promote. It's not boring. I've heard some people say it was boring. One thing that can be a little bit overwhelming, I know last bull cycle, I heard about balancer and convex, but all these VE and all these, there's too many letters, right? I didn't have time for that. Excuse me. But certainly this round, I paid more attention. I've worked really hard, you know, to get the eggs in my basket, and now I want to keep those eggs. Like, you know, as I always say, you know, concentration of resources to make your wealth, and diversification to protect it. That's kind of what I think sums it up.
Yellowcake, can we show that portfolio page quick to just show people how easy it's going to be to migrate to TWFucks?
Ooh, there we go. The infinite loop. And then I've got a question.
You're muted,
whenever
Yellowcake.
we go to the next portion. Once we're done with whatever this is.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So the portfolio page will show my total deposits and my claimable rewards, which is actually a really nice ratio right now. Like, of course, this is DevNet, but essentially nice and easy. Show your pools with a shortcut to get to that pool page where you got the meat and potatoes, stake, unstake, and the info such as rewards contract address. One thing that's noteworthy, like I said, there is a shortcut here that'll take you right to the fucks.io pools page where you can build your liquidity, and then you know, you can come back and it'll already be in your wallet, ready to stake. So it should be very very intuitive to use.
Could we show how it shows your tokens that aren't staked?
Yeah, that was on the claims page. So so essentially, as a user, you
portfolio page.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was the portfolio page. Okay, you're right. My bad. Yeah. So essentially, if you already got liquidity on fucks.io, you would unstake it, and it'll already show up in your unstaked pools. So you won't have to search for things or try to find things. Basically, you can come to this page, find your pool with your tokens, click the shortcut button, boom, takes you to the page, and you're ready to stake. And again, you do have the options, like I said, of staking individual tokens. But again, you got to be mindful of the slippage. This pool has 4 tokens, so you know there's a chance that there'll be higher slippage, because basically some of this gets sold for each of the tokens in the pool, right? Because you can only stake the protocol token, the liquidity token in the end. But this is for convenience. Like I said, if you had a larger amount, you maybe just go over to fucks.io, create your liquidity token, and you're ready to stake. But like I said, as fast as explaining, users will come over here and you'll be able to already visualize your liquidity and put them in the pools where they belong, and away you go.
Those are the real liquidity tokens too. Like, it's not like you have to unravel your liquidity and put it back in again. You're just unstaking on Fox and then press the stake button on TWFucks. That's it. Right?
And like I said, there's no lock period. You can unstake at any time. And also the unstake, we have a feature to claim your rewards at the same time. If you're in a hurry to go over to 9inch for the new token launch and you want all your rewards. But I would highly recommend staying on fucks.io to see or TWFucks to see what's going to happen. There's going to be some crazy pools, because like there's communities already working together. And I mean, there's going to be some really interesting APRs happening out of the gate, because don't forget, these numbers are just based on kind of what's already out there. But then when people start directing more emissions to the pools, I mean, that's going to change things too, right? Because depending on how much protocol owned voting power there is, like I said, these lockers, like I said, if people are going heavy into this bridge stable pool, well, there's going to be more votes, which translates into more emissions in that pool on the next voting cycle, right? So
Can you search the 9-inch token on there, please?
I certainly can.
Is that your favorite one?
Nothing
Who's
wrong
that?
with it.
Oh,
9-inch.
this is so fast it threw me off here. Okay, it's already
There
there.
you
Yeah. So these are the okay, so what do we got here? The 9-inch strap on. So that's swap fees. Yeah. But so here you can see the gauge boost is a little bit lower because on our DevNet we have the total value locked is very close to the deposited amount in this particular wallet. So it's a ratio of like, you know, how much liquidity there is in a pool, how much voting power we have, which is very small on our DevNet right now. And so this value is going to change. Like here's 1.73 gauge boost. But you can see how as an individual user, without having any votes already, you could just come in and benefit from this boosted yield because the protocol owns it. So what that does is it generates revenue, and that revenue gets distributed to a portion of that gets distributed to the stakers of the PrimeTX token and the lockers of the TWFucks token. So again, there's incentive to participate in all these different aspects, right? To get the most robust experience. So this protocol is designed to be a big snowball that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I think on Aura, on an Ethereum chain, the Aura has, is it 54% of all the voting power on Balancer? Somewhere around there. Anyways, I think it was, you're muted.
It has, no, it's like 65% now of all the voting power on Balancer in less than 3 years, right? And we're starting earlier than them. So in theory, it could be a year from now, we could be wielding 65% of the available voting power on the Fucks exchange, which to me is very interesting. And when you think that each of those votes is potentially a bribe, there's really a lot of interesting games that could be played.
Yeah, it'd be exciting.
This is an excellent part. Zenith, why don't you go ahead and ask your question, because that sounds super duper relevant to the thing that you had to.
Sure thing. So in the very crazy scenario where someone wants to take their money off of TWFucks, you guys mentioned previously that when you mint the Prime TWFucks, that gets turned into PrimeTX, which is owned by TWFucks. So if you theoretically wanted to exit your position on PrimeTX and the whole voting power thing, is your only option to effectively just sell it back to the marketplace?
The PrimeTX token is like permanently wrapped, never to be unwrapped PrimeTX, right? So
yes.
PrimeTX from the Fucks exchange to get the voting power and to get the big yield, you have to lock it for the year. Whereas PrimeTX is never locked. You can stake it, unstake it at any time. You get the yield with the additional tokens, the additional boost on TWFucks, but you can never unravel it, right? So the only way to get out of that position would be to unstake it, which you can do versus not being able to do on Fucks, and then sell it, right? And the natural place you would sell it would be the PrimeTX to PrimeTX pool, which is a very important pool that would likely be gauged, likely have a fair amount of liquidity, because those things are always a one-to-one value. The cost of making one PrimeTX is always one PrimeTX. And in fact, on Balancer, they call it a stable pool. And it's clearly not stable coins, but because those things have a very close value. So there's an arbitrage opportunity. Anytime if the price of PrimeTX in particular goes above the price of PrimeTX, you can go and make PrimeTX, convert it to PrimeTX, and then sell it on the market to bring the price down, right? And if the price ever dips substantially below, there's no arbitrage point to bring it back. But because one is made with the other, and the PrimeTX token by its very nature will do all the same things, but with better yield and no lock, it's very likely that the market will bring it back up. So if you see an unnatural 30% dip in the price of PrimeTX versus the price of PrimeTX, then probably you should pay attention to that. It won't be there for very long. And we have years of history on Balancer with Aura Finance to see exactly how those work. And they are far and away the biggest pools that holding those tokens on Ethereum. And I think we're going to find fairly quickly that it will be a very important pool in the Fucks and TWFucks ecosystem for that same reason. It's a great play because the impermanent loss should be crazy low, right? Because like it costs one PrimeTX to make one PrimeTX all day, every day. It can never change. That's it. So I think there's value there.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about that, because you do have the incentive to keep them paired 1-to-1. That also in and of itself provides liquidity for anybody that does want to potentially exit a position. And on top of that, because it only goes one direction, it kind of snowballs the whole protocol, and it's only going to keep getting bigger and bigger. That's fantastic.
Anytime you sell PrimeTX, it will almost certainly be rolling through PrimeTX. So in theory, pushing the price of PrimeTX up in the process and adding fees to that particular pool. This will be a pool that the protocol, like TWFucks, will be very interested in having gauged and having votes go to that pool. So any like protocol designated votes would be a good chance they're voting for that pool. And it should be a pool that is incentivized in an interesting way, right? So there's lots of ways, and there's 2 ways you can make money there. You can stake your PrimeTX, which is not locked, and get all the revenue you'd get if it was the PrimeTX token, but without the lock, plus the additional tokens. Or you can put it into that liquidity pool, the stable pool, right? And and benefit from the gauge, the boosted incentivized liquidity farming that is there, right? So it's going to be a good token. I think it's going to be the kind of the whale token in a lot of ways. I think there's going to be some big players who want to hold on to that.
Yeah, I'm glad you go ahead. No, I'm just saying I'm glad you mentioned, because like it's really the mechanic as to why it holds that peg is really interesting. It's not necessarily just intuitive to wrap your mind around, but like it's covered in both directions. The price goes up, like Fast was saying, the protocol benefits because the arbitrage opportunity, the only way that PrimeTX comes into existence is by minting it, right? Or whatever you can buy on the market. So if the price rises, there's incentive for people to go to the protocol and mint some to go and then sell it, right? So it's always increasing that protocol owned PrimeTX, which is beautiful. And as Fast was saying, if the price dips, like the APR is insane because you're getting what you would natively plus all the extras. So it only, somebody, you dip it, I'll buy it. It's going to make sense, to buy it. But it's
backed by Yellowcake. You heard it here first. It's pegged by Yellowcake. But like the concept of it being something where you could arbitrage it, like we want that to happen, right? Like we want people to be minting more PrimeTX because every time they do, that is PrimeTX that is permanently locked in the protocol, right? And which makes the protocol stronger. It has more votes. It has a better boost, all those things every time that happens. Now, the protocol with its auto compounder and stuff like that actually makes these things happen automatically. Like when you claim your yield, you use the auto compounder, which gives you a better deal. Like part of your yield comes in PrimeTX, which you could sell, you could stake, you could do whatever. But it's, every time you do that, the protocol has more. And that is what we can see on Ethereum with like Convex or a Finance. That's how those things snowballed to be like by far the controlling monsters that they are in the curve and also balancer ecosystems, right?
Very cool.
That is excellent, man. This is going to be a very interesting thing to see on Pulse Chain, because this is the first thing. This is the first instance of this particular protocol's type or family or class or whatever, right? There's nothing else
nothing close. And I can tell you for a fact, and Yellowcake would understand this better than me, but this is probably the most complicated, most intense fork on the Pulse Chain. Like it is. We could have forked many, many smaller, less interesting things, but we wanted to do this. We were looking at something else that maybe we're going to do one day as well, but we were looking at something else. We were ready to move forward with it. And we changed to this one because it was the biggest missing puzzle piece on the Pulse Chain, like by total value locked on Ethereum. Like literally, it was like the biggest thing, like millions and millions of dollars that wasn't here, that nobody was talking about. Mostly nobody even knew what it was. But it's a huge protocol on Ethereum. So yeah, very happy to bring this to Pulse Chain. I think serious people are going to see this as a serious protocol, and serious money is going to follow it.
And noteworthy too, one thing I just wanted to add in there was that like with the token generation event, because we essentially we're mapping the Fucks token supply pro rata 1-to-1 or very close to it. So the initial supply will start out with the same initial supply as Fucks.io no matter what. But here's the key, is that the people whose values align with ourselves are going to get all those tokens, no matter how many, if we reach our cap or not, right? So the value proposition to get in now versus waiting to market buy potentially your TWFucks tokens is going to be interesting, because like I said, I know that number of tokens that's coming out, and those are going out proportionally to whoever's on board. So I just wanted to mention that as well, because it's a significant amount of tokens. So it's
yep. And the sacrifice ends soon. I have one final question for you, gentlemen, and then we're going to go ahead and bring on another good friend of mine, Don Function from the Degen protocol. But real quick, I got this question out of nowhere. It sprung to my mind. But I was wondering, what if I want to bribe people to vote, but I am not the highest bribe? Oh, look! Wow, what a coincidence! Fast Abdul thought the same thing apparently. But this is a question that I've been wondering for a very long time, like specifically the last 19 minutes or so. But what if I want to bribe people, but I'm not the biggest?
I think I can take that one for you, Will.
Yes.
The bribe protocol, which is again something that exists on Ethereum, like it's that we're adapting for the Pulse chain. You'll have a choice. You'll get to see where your bribe is going. So if the top bribe offer is not where you want your vote to go, and you could scroll down and take a lesser offer, but for the pool you would have voted for anyway, you're free to do so. So, you can only take the offers that are on the table, but there will be a list of offers from different whales, founders, or just community members. And you don't have to take the highest paying one. You could take the one that also aligns with your values or interests. So it's the best kind of bribes. It's, bribes with choice, governed by, smart contracts.
I like it. I like it.
Thank you, Will.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right, sweet. I see that we have in the private chat that our good friend Don Function is ready. For those of you guys, Josh, why don't you go ahead and bring him in whenever you have the time to do so. I'll go ahead and do an introduction for him while we're getting that all squared away. But for those of you guys at home who don't know who Don Function is, he is one of the devs and one of the coders over there at the Degen protocol. He's a good buddy of mine, and he also has created the Function Island, which is a sort of a staking and liquidity providing flywheel. And from what I understand, Fast Abdul, Yellowcake, and Don Function, you guys already all know each other. So Donnie, welcome to the program, bro. What's new and exciting with you? How are you?
What up? What up? Thank you very much, guys. Great to be here. What's up, Abdul, Yellowcake? Great to see you guys.
Cheers.
Yeah. So Yellowcake and I actually crossed paths in one of the Telegram chats, and Fast Abdul, he ran across Degen Protocol a couple of weeks ago when he was making a bit of a joke about a goat token of sorts. So like I said, we've definitely met before. I just got to say, guys, I'm absolutely fascinated by what you guys have going on at TWFucks. That just looks, pardon my French here for a minute, that is fucking incredible. Just
thanks, man.
Yeah, nice work. Well done. I love the way that it looks like it's going to build up like a massive snowball and just keep on dominating. Really, for those out there who don't understand what this is, like, really, and like obviously there's that DYO NFA type thing you got to pay attention to, but to be in on the ground floor and understand what this could grow into now is like, this could be a massive upper hand. I mean, don't fade on TWFucks.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I want to tell you real quick just the story of how I met Don recently that he alluded to. I did a post on Twitter. I was just having fun, but I posted my plans for GOAT token, which was to be a stable coin pegged to the price of goat meat. With various options to mine, goat cheese and stuff like that, using said stablecoin that was pegged to the price of goat meat. And I was attacked by the Degen community who thought I was co-opting their goat design, and that they already had a goat. And what was I doing? Was I not aware of Degen? Was I trying to vampire attack their community? And like, yeah, I don't think they finished reading the first like sentence before they were on me like 30 guys. I was really impressed. Like, I really liked it actually. And so
The community
I
turned up.
Oh, they turned
They're a
up.
swarm. They're coming in.
So when I see community like that, that's willing to attack, but then so like and I I had some DMs and stuff like that, some more friendly than others, and but then one of I can't remember if it was Don or one of the other founders reached out to me and invited me to their chat, and we discussed it in public, and we're all friends now.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I'm glad that we got to that point as well. Like, yeah, no, excellent stuff. I'm glad that we got all that cleared up too.
Well, I did tell Don about the cheese farm that's already built. We just have to incorporate his goats into our farm.
Well, that's the thing. It's not even the way that the contract of goat token that we have is already built is that it's not actually ours. It doesn't belong to anyone or any protocol. Goat token is one of those contracts that, although Degen protocol developed it and put it out there, there's no ownership, there's no admin controls, there's no permission levels. It's 100% like none of that in there. Everyone's on the same level. You call the deposit function, W pulse goes in, you get goat minted. You call the redeem function, goat gets burned, W pulse comes out. There's a 5% fee on the way in and out when you're minting and redeeming, but there's no buy, sell, or transfer tax like when you're trading on the DEX. And so basically, it just automatically grows because people take advantage of the arbitrage between mint redeem price and DEX price. And so it just sort of walks its way up and to the right on a perpetual basis with the more things that it's integrated with. So, but yeah, I encourage anybody to check out, Goat and see what they can build on top of it, because basically, when it's used correctly, it could basically act as a hedge against any potential downward movement of PLS. When you think about it, because that mint redeem price is coded to only go up.
You know what, Donnie? It seems like you should probably make some sort of like pool or whatever on TWFucks over here then.
I mean, like I said, we're open to any sort of integration. I mean, the fact that I'm the one dev behind it all there at Degen Protocol, yeah. I mean, talk to me. Let's go.
So Donnie, not only have you worked with the Degen Protocol and things like that, but you've also built your own little. So these guys are building a flywheel with their TWFucks and their TWFucks or PrimeTXX. I can't remember all the names and everything, but you're building your own flywheel over there on Function Island. Can you explain to the folks at home what that is, where you're at with it, and some of the things that are similar and dissimilar between all of these different like liquidity providing places that folks can go to park their money to work for them?
Right, sure, yeah. So in a nutshell, Function Island is basically a place where I can sort of show the world, what I think works and what might not work or whatever. It's where I try new development ideas first and foremost. It's basically a farming protocol. There's your typical yield farm there where you stake LP and you earn an emissions token or whatever. We call that farm token. It's emitted at 0.85 tokens per day or roughly, well, it's exactly 0.0001 tokens per block. So at the moment, your basic yield farm, we've got several other types of staking where you also earn our token Island. Island is capped at 300,000. Farm is not capped and emitted on an inflationary basis. But basically, we're sort of trying to build that up first and foremost, and then build flywheels on top of that by method of integration. The tagline on our homepage says massively integrated, community-driven DeFi. So we have initially parked liquidity on PulseX V2, but we started building up on Fucks.io. We've got a couple of positions open on 9mm. We made sure that we got the Patius.io routing as quickly as we could as well. And one of the most interesting things which we've actually built to help our yield farm, our NFTs, our staking pools, and to fuel the rewards behind that is a production that actually I pushed out, I think it was 3 days ago now. It's called Tidal Wave. So that one basically takes any of the fees that we gather as the protocol, turns it into PLS, and throws it immediately at present. It throws it at liquid loans, right? So it buys up loan and USDL, and it stakes it into their two pools, earning loan, USDL, and PLS. It constantly restakes the loan and USDL that it earns every time we hit the button, but it spits out the PLS into our NFT staking rewards and our island single asset staking rewards. So basically, even without user deposits, even without user withdrawals, even without fees being taken in the future, that flywheel just continues to grow and charge more PLS into our ecosystem. And so it's that sort of basic mechanic that we're trying to build up at the moment, and just sort of build into bigger things. I'm not sure what an integration with things like TWFucks would look like, but I think a fair assessment would be that we want to grow up to be like TWFucks one day.
That is absolutely awesome. Go ahead.
The flywheel and the influence of that would be just incredible. So.
Cool. Now that's a good presentation. Are you familiar with the Hocus Pocus farming platform?
Yes, we love the guys over at Hocus Pocus. They're great.
Farming Wizard. That's what they call it. Farming Wizard. Because I've seen you guys on there before, and I didn't know. I see the Degen token on there, but I didn't know you're associated with the island and the farm token. So that now I see that, and you guys often have some of the highest APRs on the Farming Wizard. With tokens like the Degen token, that's like, okay, I kind of trust this versus something I've never heard of. But now that I've heard of like the island token, the farm token, that's a little different viewpoint. So that's good to know.
Yeah. You were on a presentation recently as well, where you actually looked at the Farming Wizard. I wrote to you about it as well, where I appreciated your neutral language surrounding. You looked at iBond and you're like, oh, high APR, not sure about that, So you even discovered iBond as well, which is half of our other thing that we're building.
And that's yours too. Okay. And I had no idea what it was, but I didn't tell people it was bad. I said this is something.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, like I said, I wrote to you, and just to let you know that I appreciate the neutral language surrounding that.
So one thing I think is cool with you integrating with multiple platforms, I've noticed that you're also you're on SparkSwap, right? Like you can stake your Degen tokens in a pair on SparkSwap.
Yeah. So SparkSwap was one of the first partners that Degen Protocol gathered with.
Nice.
Just pairing Spark and Goat together to earn more Spark, which was cool. I think we're also on Pulse Farm, and I think Atrofa also did one. Atro Farms, or however you say that, they also did an LP farm with us too.
Nice. So the advantage there, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but especially if you looked at adding something like being on the Fucks exchange, which is with a gauge pool, which to be clear, we do not hand out the gauges. That's a separate team, but we can help you with the process perhaps. As far as who to talk to and what you need to do. But if you could achieve something like that, that it would be it could hold a larger amount of Degen tokens, and it helps you to not dilute the individual pools to have these different options. So if you have people in 5 different places rather than just pouring all into one place, then you can sort of have you can lose the dilution, especially if you're paying out in different tokens that aren't the Degen token. I think something like having a pool on Fucks that was boosted through TWFucks, that it would be a good step in the process, because you could potentially have many users bringing in tens of thousands of dollars versus the smaller amounts you see on those sort of Master Chef farm format that we're looking at there. But they both have a place in the ecosystem for sure. And I think with that Hocus Pocus Farming Wizard that shows all the farms, and I've been talking to Nick from Hocus Pocus, he's going to eventually incorporate the Fucks farms, the TWFucks farms will all be on there as well.
Wow.
9 inches on there too, right? So if Degen can have representation on there, where maybe you're on 9 inch, maybe you're on Fucks and TWFucks, and then maybe you're on with Island and Farm and the other things that you're producing yourself, then when I can't open a door without seeing a picture of a goat, then that's I think that's good advertising.
Yeah, thank you very much for that too. I think one of our advantages has been the diversified liquidity, the fact that it's not just against one token, and what we have seen as well, and I'm I'm not sure if they've made so much noise about it, but we've actually seen Goat token at times drag the price of other tokens up as well. And that's naturally just because of that mint redeem price and arbitrage action on the backside as well. And possibly one of the coolest things about that is that, like I said, the more things that build into that, the less user-driven effort is required as just natural market forces push it upways. So anything we can build onto that connects us with other protocols also doing like heavy and intensive user beneficial stuff, we're all about that. Yeah.
Well, it's great to know that there is a sort of a trusted source behind some of these farms, because you'd know better than me that some of these like Master Chef farms, basically, is it Sushi Swap that is the basis for those farms?
Yeah, it's Sushi Swap, I believe, the version 1.0. Yeah.
But they can pop up really fast, right? And you don't know which ones to trust, right? And that
Yeah.
farming wizard is just kind of an aggregator, just sucks them all onto the same page. So to know that, like, okay, these ones are a community, and I'm not endorsing Degen here. I'm just saying, like, they're sort of a known commodity, and there's a place where people can go. There's a Telegram room, and you were somewhere else before Pulse Chain, right?
Yeah, so we were actually on Binance Smart Chain, and then before that, we were also on Kronos. That was when we we actually started out. I think it was just before the Pulse Chain sacrifice. No, it was around sack time. Everybody jumped in, and we were trying to figure out. We put a vote to our community and basically said, yo, do you guys want to launch now on Kronos, because Kronos was new at the time, and potentially gather some ecosystem money, get the wheels turning, etc. And we ended up launching what was called Sheep Token with this technology that was not an official ERC, but it was called ERC 31337. Or ERC Elite, right? It was built by a project known as Rootkit Finance. And basically, it was just liquidity hacks, in effect, right? To spend the same token twice. We kind of refer to that as our training wheels. It didn't exactly do the best. We're not going to hide from the fact that was the case. But basically, we gathered up what value we could from there. We took all of our community with us. We got everybody involved in Goat Token. And when Pulse Chain kicked off, we're like, right, let's go. We got some great mentorship from fellow community developers as well. We spent, I think it was 4 months on testnet before we even decided to hit mainnet. So we made sure we did a proper go around on Pulse Chain, And the thing is as well, is that when we started back out on Kronos, I was only a very, very green developer, like very, very new, learning Solidity, still getting my web dev chops up. And, nowadays we're building with, the latest versions of Solidity. I've got test suites using Hardhat to compile contracts. I'm building with a Next.js React framework for front ends. We've stepped up our game this time.
Wow, that was a lot of words. Yeah,
that was
I'm sure Yellowcake probably understood all of them, but I only caught a couple. But I do know that it puts you on a very short list of a community that brought people to Pulse Chain, right? Versus popped up on Pulse Chain to collect what was here. So thank you for your service, sir, in that regards. You brought people from Kronos, you brought people from BNB, much like the Spark Swap guys did. I don't think they get enough credit sometimes. And that's pretty awesome. So thanks for that. And we'd be happy to talk about integrating with you in the future.
Likewise. Cheers.
You guys were mentioning community a little bit ago. We've got 2 more members that we're going to bring on up into this bar, and they're going to feel free to ask questions, everybody here on the panel. But I'd like to welcome on Briss and Farmer J. Briss is Brissology. He is a longtime Hexagon. And here's Farmer J. We've known him for quite a while. He's an OG with the Degen Roundtable. Briss and Farmer, what's up, guys? What's new and exciting with you? Briss, why don't you go ahead and go first? Give yourself a little bit of an introduction for the folks at home whoever they are who might not have seen you before. Who are you, and how are you doing, sir? And then why don't you go ahead and once you're done introducing yourself, pass it on over to Farmer J.
Well, I'm doing terrible in this bear market. I've completely lost my body. I still have my head and hands though, so I'm all right. Am I super choppy for everyone else? There we go.
I love it, Briss.
So, but Brizzology on Twitter. I'm on the Game Theory Gang every Tuesday, and And yeah, just wanted to stop by and say hi and see how you guys are doing. And I don't know, today's been pretty awesome. Seems like the market's kind of correcting back up a little bit, so that's a positive thing. And I saw Fast Abdul and Yellowcake on here, and talking about their thing, and I'm a big proponent for that. So yeah, go ahead, farmer.
Excellent.
Off the farmer.
Farmer Jay, who are you? What's new and exciting with you, bro?
How you
How's it
guys
going?
doing? First, I'll go with the drink of the night.
Oh yeah. What are you drinking?
This little hazy little IPA.
Hazy IPA.
Oh, hazy IPA is fucking delicious.
I can't drink IPAs.
I was gonna drink this, but I think I'll save it for later.
What's that one?
Oh, you should drink that all like right here, right now. Take a shot.
Oh, Belvedere.
You want me
Good
to die, Nate?
choice. Excelente, excelente.
Well, I just been lamenting the whole day, like I've been DCAing these past weeks. I should have saved it all and DCA'd all today, but I still had some little DCA money to throw in at the market today. Was stripping copper earlier today to go sell tomorrow so I can DCA some more. Other than that, last job I was on just finished up, so now I'm gonna probably take probably a month off till the next project ramps up. But other than that, it's been good. I just have a question, or more like a comment on what Nate said about TWFucks, that it reminds him of Reaper. Yeah, it's kind of like the same concept. You stake with us, which you were already gonna stake, and you'll get added bonuses to it, but like more complex, a lot more complex. And it seems like there's a higher potential for more gains using this protocol. Because Reaper, it was just you would take, like you said, you would just take your LP you already had or the token from the original source, and you would just stake it on their platform, and they would compound yield for you. You would earn more yield. So it sounds like TWFucks does the same. It's the same concept, but it's completely different. Like it's completely different how the protocol works, but it's essentially stake what you were already going to stake and earn more rewards.
And we have that's and you said that was Reaper, right, Farmer J?
Yeah, that's Reaper
auto compounding.
Reaper was a replicator, I believe, but it's
replicator, yeah, auto compounding.
It's a very simple label, the same concept, just earn more yield here with the same with the same tokens you were already gonna farm or yield on.
Yep. And so there's also Impulse Finance for the folks that don't know. Impulse Finance does a very similar thing, if I'm not mistaken. Donnie can correct me on that.
Yo.
But real quick, I want to introduce Paul Sachs and then see how he's doing. And then Donnie, hop on in once we are done with that. But Mr. Paul Sachs, welcome, my friend. For those of you that don't know, Paul Sachs did a fantastic job organizing a Hex meetup for the folks over in the Midwest area while I was over there doing some climbing training. So I want to give a warm thank you to Mr. Paul Sachs for that. And how are you doing, bro? What's new and exciting with you? It's been couple days since we've seen each other last?
Right. Yeah, no, hopefully you made it down to where you were heading, Texas. All right. I just got done cutting the grass and letting the dog play out here for a little bit.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah.
Well,
jump on stream here.
So if anyone has any questions for Yellowcake, Fast Abdul, or Donnie, feel free to ask. But Donnie, can you speak a little bit about Impulse Finance, because I kind of touched on that a little bit. And Paul, can you mute when you're not speaking, please? Excellent, thank you, sir. Donnie, go ahead, and you were going to say something, I think, about Impulse Finance. Why don't you go ahead and tear
100%. So Impulse Finance is actually done by one of my boys. His name's Kairos. So he's actually the developer of Impulse, and he's doing a great job. Basically, Impulse is a yield aggregator and auto compounding vault system on Pulse Chain. Much like any sort of farm out there, you stake your LP and you end up earning yield. But how Impulse is different is that when you stake your LP into their vaults, the LP ends up going into the farm that the vault belongs to, but you end up earning Impulse token instead, right? The yield is aggregated into Impulse token. And so the best way to benefit from that is ultimately to stake your LP, earn the Impulse, and then you end up staking Impulse in their revenue share pool, which by method of fees on the auto compounding or through the strategy processing, they gather PLS, which is then added to the revenue share rewards. You stake Impulse and you earn a piece of that every single day. So basically, I think the token supply is also capped at 300,000. And there's only about a third of that in circulation at the moment, but there is big plans for that. And most recently, Function Island actually tied up with Impulse because we were going to do our own series of vaults, but instead of reinventing the wheel and building competition, we thought, to hell with that. Let's see if Impulse will just be our official vault partner. And so now they have 5 vaults that involve the Function Island farm, and they will have even more than that as we help them to develop out their technology as well. So some really cool stuff coming from Impulse very soon. I won't elaborate further on it just yet out of, I don't know what I can and can't say, but Kairos has got some really cool stuff happening over in that regard as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. And so for the folks at home, you guys joined to watch us drink whiskey, and instead you guys are learning a shit ton about liquidity providing and where you can go to get all sorts of cool things done. The last cool thing I want to talk about, snap, and another super chat from Antoine. I'll get to that here in a second. The last thing I want to say about Impulse, and this is something that I think is really cool, is they actually bribe their users to not touch the rewards. Do I understand that correctly, Donnie? I'm over on their website looking at it now.
It's not to not touch the rewards. That bribe is actually in effect to process the compounding, harvesting, or whatever effects are needed for the yield that's earned in the farm, right? So let's say you put in Pulse Die LP into the vault, and it's over in PulseX earning ink, right? You claiming that bribe would be telling the strategy to claim that ink, sell it into Impulse or whatever, and then take the Pulse fees or whatever. You get a portion of that as a bribe for calling that function, and then obviously the strategy is compounded for other people.
Yes.
Right. So it's basically just fueling the aggregate action for everyone, and you get a slice of the cake for doing so.
Yep. And that's right up Fast Abdul's lane. And I see Brissology also shouted out, let's talk bribes. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to our good friend Antoine. I've met him as well. Man, so many people to meet in the Hex space. Love the growth, boys, doing big things. Honored to be a part of the community, willing to bring on supporters at random. Nobody does that and brings legends in the game on, I think he meant to type live, being a part of this community, even though I'm not always involved. My dogs. Big shout out to Antoine, my good friend down there in Southern Florida. Thank you, sir. You are too kind with giving us all this money. I can't guarantee any expectations with how this money will be spent, but if there's like 150 tacos that are bought up in the Degen Roundtable area in the near future, you guys should not be at all surprised. That is super
I thought
cool.
it was hookers and blow, but I mean that's what I'm here for.
And then, I mean,
somebody say hookers and blow.
No expectations.
Hunter Biden special.
Real quick, gentlemen, I'm gonna do a quick round of community shout outs because we've got some starred chats here. The community has been on fire, so big shout out to all you guys watching us live and all of you that are gonna be catching this on the replay. Go ahead and give yourselves a pat on the back. You have all earned it. First up, we got Crypto Sloth with someone knows how to hack interviews. That was in reference to my questioning Fast Abdul and Yellowcake earlier. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You guys can learn how to do interviewing and how to speak well to people by watching the YouTube channel Charisma on Command. So that's where I learned a lot of things, but you guys can go check that out stuff too. Thank you, Sloth. Those are kind words. Next up, we got Brissology. It's like starting a nuclear reactor. Once it gets going, it's not getting turned off. Be careful who we give this power tool. I demand sanctions on Fast Abdul. And that's a fun little
100%.
Over at Mr. Yellowcake there. Dude, Mr. Yellowcake, man, you gave us some kick-ass information on your protocol. So I really, really appreciate that. And there were no like trail offs into nothingness. It was all good information the entire time. Next up, we got Farmer J, and X once told me 2 fucks is better than 1. And I would agree with that, Farmer J. You are absolutely right, Brown 310.
And good fucks are better than none.
Yep, good fucks are better than none. God damn it. All right, I got 3 more. Hex Glenn, happy 1st of the month to everybody. Happy 1st of the month. We've only got 3 days until May the 4th, and May the 4th be with all of you guys.
Why do you remind me that the rent is due?
The rent is due. Hey, we got to pay the big man.
Back to the overpass it is.
Back to the overpass. Farmer Jet, you're going to be camping out in all of the coolest places. You should put some wheels on that tent and then just cruise around the state.
I'm going to be camping out in all of your backyards.
Yep, there we go. He's gonna be cruising around, finding all the audience members and
You
and
left your
coming and
trash
partying
behind,
and-
by the way. You gotta come back here and pick up your trash from my yard.
You're scheduled for 4 weeks for me to visit back in your yard. I'll clean it up then.
He's gonna be the local trash man. We're gonna have to rename you to like to Farmer J the collector man. All right, guys. Up next, we got SMO Spider. SMO Spider is giving us hundreds. I forgot what we were talking about earlier, but apparently we were right on the money. And then last but not least, we got Hex Famous, who is strikingly similar to this dude that throws dodgeballs around all over the place. But he's talking about Fast in the Casino. How does he do it? Fast Abdul, for you guys who have not been paying attention, has changed jackets, changed backgrounds. He's over there spinning from left to right in that squeaky little chair. What is that? That looks like the original Willy Wonka's factory, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yep. From the casino all the way to Willy Wonka's factory. Man, Fast Abdul is out here cruising. I do like that jacket though.
Well, he is
The red,
fast. I mean, it
the
makes
red
sense,
jacket,
right?
the purple jacket, the flower jacket. I'd be very curious to see you do like a clothing review or something, or like a suits review someday. I think you got some good taste over there, brother.
I would say that would be a top signal if you see me doing closing reviews, or a bottom signal. It signals something, and it's not. It might not be a good thing. Yeah, don't. Let's not hope for that today.
Excellent, Sir August, R.I.P. Augustus.
Let's not worry about thread count. Let's worry about dollar count. Okay.
For real. That's the point of the market we are. So, gentlemen, the nine panelists. I can see that we got Briz is off mute. Briz, you got something, brother?
I was just wondering if you guys have talked about the other protocol that launched today.
The other protocol that launched today. I'm not familiar with it.
Does that have to do with Matty Allen's thing?
No, sir.
No. What
Nope.
What else launched today?
Flex Protocol. Turn your hex into stable coins. That is going to be amazing. That's going to do so much.
It already is pretty amazing, honestly. It's pretty awesome.
What
Hey,
is
they
the?
can't
I
have,
don't
they
know
can't
anything
have
about
my shit coins, all right? I'm keeping all my shit coin hex, all right? They ain't getting none of my shit coins. Those are
Oh no,
for me.
no, you'll definitely want to give it to them. No, so basically what it is you just you give them your hex, you lock it up in a smart contract, it's yours, and you take out a loan in stable coins, Hex DC, and those are going to be pegged to $1. And so you keep your hex inside a loan, and if the price of hex goes up, you can take out more stable coins, and and you can just use that as your money. And the cool thing about it is that, am I completely frozen or?
You're just your face. We can still hear you.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
All of you guys are still good. So the great thing though is that it's great for tax purposes, because like in the United States, loans are not taxable. So instead of selling your coins and market dumping and killing the price and creating a taxable event, you could put your hex coins into a loan, get the stable coins. It's in a lot of jurisdictions, getting a loan is not a taxable event, and then you can go do things with your stable coins, and if you ever want, you return the stable coins and get your hex back. So and then on top of that, when people lock up their hex, it takes it off the market and it makes it more scarce, and so it's really just a win-win-win for everybody.
That
Hey, Briz, is this a project by the Power City Gang?
Yes.
Very nice.
It's the same exact thing as their Earn protocol, where you can lock up the PLSX for stablecoins, but with Hex.
Big shout out to Jesse. Good stuff. Paul and I we're just hanging out with Jesse. Oh, for the folks at home who are we are coming up real close to the 2 hour the 2 hour mark, gentlemen. So I'm going to do a round the horn where we can all make like a little a final comment section, talk about one final thing, let the folks at home know where they can find you and what you got going on in the near future. But man, it's too bad that we don't have more time here, but holy shoot, we've been going on for almost 2 hours already. So real quick, I'm going to make sure that we've got nothing crazy. Donnie, why don't you go ahead and go first because you got to go. Where can the folks find you? What you got going on in the near future, my friend?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much, guys. Look, it's great to be on the show again. You guys can find me on Twitter at Don_function. You can check out my Web3 based link tree at donfunction.pls.fyi. You can find my GitHub there. There's a YouTube account there as well. Basically, if not there, then join the Telegram, either Degen Protocol, which is Degen_protocol, Function Island, which is at Function Island, or you can check out the website functionisland.com, degenprotocol.io, and come find me. I'm always there for a chat.
I would highly recommend you get a link tree that's got all that stuff. I threw your Twitter in the links and description below, but bro, you got to get a link tree made. Or shoot, do you got the Pulse FYI thing? I could just
That's right.
That
Yeah. Donfunction.pls.fyi. Yep.
Okay. Yep. I'm copying it and I'm throwing that up in there. You guys can find everything that Donnie is doing over there and all the stuff that he has done. An excellent person. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Let's see. We're just gonna go around in a what I think looks like a clockwise. Thanks, bro. We'll see you. Mr. Fast Abdul.
Thanks, Donnie. Have a good one.
Mr. Fast Abdul, where can the folks find you and what do you have going on in the near future?
Well, the best place to find me is probably on Telegram. I'm an admin in multiple Telegram rooms that you guys would know: Internet Money, Power City, TWFucks, that sort of thing. And our Telegram room, the TWFucks Telegram room, is where I spend most of my time. Reach out to us there. Watch out for scammers. And I'm also on Twitter under @FastAbdul, just like you see my name on the screen. Don't spend a lot of time there, but yeah, I like to mix it up. I'll fight anybody. It's all good. Something about me, I have a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I took some time off to do this crypto thing, and I'm just about ready to go back. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing the crypto, but I need to get back into the jiu-jitsu. Best advice, always open with a headbutt. They never see it coming. Just make sure you don't blink or, move your head, just straight on. All right. And then say sorry to the ref if that's the situation. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a mistake. And then proceed. I've done well with that.
Fast, are you a
Beautiful.
gi or no gi kind of guy?
I'll do both. Originally, like in my earlier days, because we're like 7-8 years in here, I was better at gi because I did like high school and some university, or no gi rather, because I did high school and university wrestling. And so it's sort of more natural, right? It's just like kind of like wrestling, just with many, many, many more moves. But, as I matured, I found a love for the gi more, just because there's so many more nuances and it's so much more skill-based than the no gi. You really have to be on top of your game to compete in the gi versus the no gi. Sometimes, some university wrestler can come in and do pretty well for himself. The same guy, throw a gi on him, he's not going to last 15 minutes. So he'll get caught, right? So that's my game.
Love it.
Excellent. We're going to go a little bit out of order. Nate, I'm going to let you, where can the folks find you? What have you got going on in the near future? And then you go ahead and pass it on to Briss, because I know you have a question for him. Then Yellowcake, I'll get back to you after Briss says his closing piece.
Yeah. I'm the Ascending Man, Nate McGinnis, on the Degen Roundtable. Come watch us every single Wednesday, Friday, Sunday at the exact same time, 8 Eastern and all that. And but I am going to go ahead and put my link tree in here. So hit me up on my link tree there. I'm doing consultations for people who are maybe not quite sure about their portfolio. Perhaps, they need some tips on how to farm and all that. So yeah, just go ahead, hit me up. But otherwise, Briss, I did have a question about the Flex. So that's the Power City guys, if I remember correctly. And what is the collateral? Is it for the loan? Is it just that you're staking the Hex? Is that what the deal is?
No, you just put the Hex into the smart contract, and then you can mint stable coins with a very small fee to do it. Does that make sense?
What's the small fee?
Nate, you are either. Oh, there you go.
What's the small fee?
Let me just check that real quick. It's 0.5%.
Okay. And so you're literally just
Half a
staking the
percent.
Hex into the smart contract, and then they hand you out a loan.
Yeah, they just give you a bunch of stable coins, and you can do whatever you want with them.
And that's just P Hex, or is it E Hex and P Hex?
I think it's just P Hex.
Okay. Penis Hex.
Excellent. Mr. Briss, where can the folks find you? What have you got going on in the near future?
Well, you can find me at Brizology on Twitter. I'm over there shit posting all the time. I assume we can curse on here because you guys keep saying
you
fucks. But
Oh no, we were
but you know, don't be like me. Don't get your body rugged by a Degen, protocol somewhere. And if you guys can go get my body out of a liquidity pool, I'd appreciate that. But yeah, that's about it.
Excellent.
Yellowcake.
Yes, Mr. Yellowcake, what do you got going on in the near future, and where can the folks find you?
Yeah, I can be found at I am Yellowcake on Twitter, and I also have an old YouTube channel, Yellowcake.crypto, which has two of the, you'll see my original how to claim Hex from your Bitcoin on multiple ledger wallets and accounts. But I'm going to revamp the channel with a few geeky videos and some walkthroughs, probably simple step-by-step walkthroughs of different pages. And my near future, I got a lot of chicken wings on the go because I've made my own wing sauce for 25 years. It's one of my passions, is smoker barbecuing, and we're into wing season here, baby. So I'm gonna get this thing launched, have some wing parties. One thing I just wanted to mention real quick is that like Faust was saying, we built this thing from the ground up, self-funded, and it's a very rare opportunity to like have this completely working protocol. And the sacrifice is still open for another week there. So I would encourage you guys to take a look at that. And yeah, other than that, we're going to hopefully smoke some wings.
Hell yeah, bro. I like to hear it. Mr. Paul Sachs, what have you got going on in the near future, bro? Where can the folks find you?
Not a whole lot. Just trying to get the hell out of this bear market, right?
Yeah.
Find me over in No Permissions. Find me on Telegram in that room, and Degen Roundtable, and on Twitter at PaulSaxWin. Always joining Yellowcake and the smoking community over there too, in our little sub community.
Excellent. I like it.
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Mr. Farmer J, where can the folks find you? What you got going on in the near future?
More shit posting on the Degen Roundtable chat. That's what's in my future. No, we're just this was very interesting. Like the protocol, I thought it was a very interesting protocol to look into. Just if you're already using fucks, I mean, why not two fucks?
Yep, I hear it's the better fucks.
I mean, I think most of us are already in fucks here in the community we know. They're already in fucks. So just I mean, like you said, it's as easy as unstaking it at fucks and staking it on two fucks if you already have some pools there. So that sounds pretty easy to me. So yeah, other than that, I'll just be in the Degen Roundtable, and from time to time you'll find me on these YouTubes with you guys.
Excellent.
That's all I gotta say.
And for the folks at home who might not understand what Fucks is, it is the PH Universal Exchange, and the PHUX, or Fucks for short. So if you guys are looking to go and trade some coins on the Pulse chain, the PHUX, the PH Universal Exchange, is one of the many places that you can do it. Mr. Josh Chocolate Taints, where can the folks find you, and what do you got going on in the near future?
Yeah, so me personally, I'm not in fucks, so I can't give a fuck. And even if I did, I wouldn't give a fuck. So, but that's just me. Yeah, my name is Josh. You guys can find me on Instagram, on Twitter at Chocolate Taints. I'm also in the Degen Roundtable Telegram. If you guys need to find me there, go ahead and tag me or send me a DM if you guys want to get in contact with me. As far as for what I got coming up, let's see. Next Tuesday, I jump on an airplane, flying down to Florida, getting on a boat, going on a cruise, and I'll be back next Sunday. So looking forward to that. So Antoine, if you are still watching, buddy, May 12th, let's plan on doing something that day. So I'll shoot you a text. But yeah, that's all I got. Looking forward to that, and the Sunday stream that we got coming up. Zenith, what you got, bud?
I am just continuing to do what we do over here, which is run book club on Fridays, main shows on Sundays, and then these fun either Whiskey Wednesdays or special guest shows on Wednesdays as well. This week, last week, we covered Jocko Willing's Extreme Ownership book, and this week we're going to cover another chapter of Sci-Fi. By the way, I just saw Maddie Allen in here. Maddie Allen, please respond to me on Twitter. I promise I'm not a Nigerian prince asking for Bitcoin. So hit me up. We have an excellent Pulse Chain tour or Pulse Chain conference proposal. Sorry, RG3 is Pulse Chain tour. I mean, I have plenty of ideas for that man as well, but we'll leave that for another day. By the way, October 24th, it's going down in New York City. Be there in Brooklyn when we take on the SEC. Not personally, but we'll be helping in spirit or something like that. Anyways, that's what I got going on. You can find me on Zenith DI, Twitter, Instagram, and then Hex Space Force or Hexco Space Force on the Instagram and YouTubes for memes and some content that I put out there. Will.
And if I may interject a little bit, Maddie, look at your DMs on Telegram.
Also that.
I DM'd you, bro.
He is a busy man. So I will say one thing that I've learned for dealing with people that are very busy is you just have to reach out to them over and over again. Like for the folks who are always trying to get a hold of everybody that's like got a lot on their plates, it's essentially like they see the things at the top of their inbox. So sometimes you have to reach out and just spam people over and over. And it might feel like spamming, and they might say, "Hey, stop spamming me," and then you just act the way that you got to, and things of that nature. But it's not personal most of the time when people don't see your messages and don't respond to them. So that's a tidbit for the folks at home and for everyone here on the panel. For the folks at home, why don't you guys come on over to the Degen Roundtable? Come join our Telegram group. Get on in there. I already dropped the link, but for those of you guys that are blind and are listening to us on the replay, well, I don't know if you're blinded, you'd be able to type this on a computer anyways, because what good's a screen? But it's bit.ly/degenerate_roundtable. That will bring you directly into our Telegram chat room, where you guys can chit chat, talk about memes, talk about sports, talk about cryptocurrency, do all the cool things, organize your own little meetups. And speaking of meetups, if you guys aren't already in the Hex Meetup Telegram, it is right here. t.me/hex_meetup. What that is it's a meetup group where Hexkins basically organize small group meetups. You don't have to go and wait for the bigger channels to go and like the KSB TV guys. You don't have to wait for Wild SJ to be in your area. You guys can literally just create a topic room of whatever the location is that you're at. I put in a whole bunch of states and countries and just like territories and areas, but anybody can create a topic room. Anyone can like organize meetups on their own. There's a little introduction place for you guys to see who's all in your area. There's a little start here tab that tells you how to best use the meetups Telegram to be more effective. But yeah, that is the tool that I created. What was that?
I've done local meetups.
Excellent. Yes, Brasology has done local. I highly recommend everybody to organize and go find as many other like-minded cryptocurrency peoples as possible. But
Just
for those of you that don't,
real quick tip, for anybody that wants to do it, the only thing I do is I just find a local brewery, and then I just tell everyone to meet me there and buy your own beer.
Yep, that's the easiest. That's the easiest thing to do for anybody who's ever looking to host a meetup or get together with people. One of the most powerful things that you can do is say, "Hey, I am doing this, that, or the other fun thing, and you guys should join me," because that inspires FOMO. Whenever you say, "Hey, I'm doing something cool, you guys should be there," then it's way more powerful than saying like, "Hey, everybody, who wants to hang out or who wants to meet up?" That's weak sauce stuff. You say, "No, I'm going and doing shit, and y'all need to come join me." And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our broadcast for the night. I want to thank you all for joining us. We know that time is your most valuable asset. Josh, go ahead and get that trigger figure ready because we're about to close out, baby. I want to make sure that you guys thank you, because time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you guys spending it here with us. For the folks at home, or excuse me, not for the folks at home, for the guys here on the stream with us, if y'all want to chit chat and hang out in the green room after we are done being live and everything, feel free to. And as far as everyone else in the channel, I want to make sure to remind you guys to degen responsibly.